Hello everyone, my name is Frank Wirth and I am not physically accompanied by Luke Piccione as well as Lauren Pesick. They are not here today, but we did work on what I am calling, or what we are calling, this is Walworth County, which is definitely an attempt to help the practitioners kind of address in the best manner that we've found to their community to help reduce health illiteracy, again, in their community. And by and large, what we've done, and based off of the experiences that we've had, we recently did a vaping campaign, and we targeted middle schoolers and high schoolers. So what we did was, with the help of our professor, Kate Sobiek, we would campaign, we would table, like for example, during parent-teacher conferences. We'd set up some activities. We would create very informative brochures, business cards, and we would do our best to get some information in the hands of the community in any way that we could, to definitely raise awareness. And something that was very interesting that we found, and the reason I even bring this up today is, so upon trying to inform the youth, the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, we found that parents and adults get involved pretty quickly, and in doing so we kind of informed them. So it was kind of like this kind of hidden beauty, and we saw it as an opportunity, and we became very successful in this campaign in trying to inform people about vaping. And I see, and we see, as a team, we see an opportunity to kind of take that framework and kind of slot in all the information that we found, to apply to brochures, to be able to create presentations, to be able to create a pre-test and a post-test, and slot it in between, again, is that presentation to be given to middle schoolers or high schoolers, possibly during like a health class. So you'd show up to a school and give a presentation, and yeah, and then some information again on things to add to the brochure, as well as reasons for it, and help give you guys some ideas on how to create a website. We have a lot of experience with Wix, creating e-portfolios, for example, incredibly free, actually rather interactive, and most importantly, app friendly or phone friendly. So this is information that individuals could get information regarding any kind of health concerns. Yeah, so rather simply, and often rather free. So let's get into the specifics and let's transition. So I wouldn't say most importantly, but just as important as anything else, getting the word out on what health literacy is, how to reach those people, how to get information and updated information to them is incredibly important. Health literacy, in my opinion, and some of the research that I've done recently, it's kind of the double-edged sword. First of all, it's incredibly important for people to be health literate, but they believe just eating healthy is some form of health literacy. But at the same time, how do you reach those who are health illiterate, if you will, if they have issues with health literacy? Reaching them is very difficult. But we found that it was actually kind of interesting, because I was thinking about adding adding the concept of health literacy to the campaign. I thought that would be a good idea. And then I came across this article, Implications of Health Literacy for Public Health Workshop Summary. And at the end, at the conclusion, there's this fantastic quote: "At the end of the day, if there is a golden rule to health literacy, it should be to involve people early and often." And I think that there's this fantastic opportunity for us to reach out to the kids, to then take that information home, or to involve their family about, you know, health literacy, maybe fill in the gap regarding what they know, what their parents know, what the kids know, and try to create a conversation within their family to, of course, just to kind of gain clarity on, you know, what concerns they have. But again, it all starts with awareness and getting people to talk. So as I did mention before, we do believe that there is in Walworth County definitely an easy, dare I say, free, you know, if people have the time, opportunity to reach out to students, test their knowledge, see what they know. We, as I mentioned before, we've set up a campaign, a tabling event during parent-teacher conferences. So parents would show up with their kids and we'd hand them brochures. They'd come over to the table. There'd be activities. We could then talk to the parents and, you know, hey, heads up, do you know this? Do you know that? And here's some additional information while the kids are kind of playing their games. And there was a nurse on hand, and we would just kind of have a conversation to make sure that there's no misinterpretation about if you will, the truth behind, you know, all these concerns. And again, I think this is a fantastic opportunity to kind of slot in that health literacy information. And again, my team and I have done a lot of research, and in a couple of slides we'll get more into the specifics, but then we could give them information. We can give them additional information regarding like links and other things like that. Hopefully, and after this presentation will be done, we can help you guys easily set up a website, what information to add, things to do, things not to do regarding, of course, those brochures, the handouts, the little business cards, and of course, how a website should be, especially dealing with multicultural individuals with so many different diverse backgrounds. There are techniques that we have listed later that we're going to touch base on, so that when you're tabling, you kind of don't leave anybody out, and you have the ability to reach as many people as possible. And this is kind of an interesting situation doing this at a parent-teacher conference, because by and large everybody has to show up. So if you can identify a school in Walworth County, middle school, high school, even a health class, just to kind of make it a little easier, not just like a once a semester event, maybe a health class where you can kind of get in and hand some information out. But the parent-teacher conference, again, is very rare. So parents are always there, and parents are coming in, and you're handing information. You're giving them everything that you can to try to get the right information into their hands. And I call it the ruse. So and the reason I say that is because we're there for the students, which is, I think, actually beneficial, because, oh yeah, so we're here, we're going to be giving speeches, you know, to health class in the middle school, and we just thought we'd you know, say hello and kind of hand out some information. With that ruse in mind, we can then pull the parent in if they have time and talk to them and kind of test their knowledge quick. You know, maybe they do have this stigma associated to fears regarding health literacy, and maybe they don't know how to read a prescription bottle. Maybe they haven't been talked to, or maybe for the nurse's point of view, the teach back method, where they don't have a practitioner who keeps asking for clarification to reassess, if you will, if their patient understands completely. Because some people aren't going to go, I don't know how to read a bottle. It's not that I don't know how to read a bottle. I just look at the bottle and I go 2 pills a day. And I don't even know if that means once every 12 hours. I don't even look at it. I just know 2 a day. Things like that should be cleared up, but you have that opportunity while the parents are coming in. Oh, it's for the kids. Oh, hey, by the way, while you're here, do you want to have an activity? You know, do you know where to go to identify all this, that's, and the others regarding your health insurance plan? Do you have health insurance? Do you know what your options are? So again, with the ruse of being there for the students, I see an opportunity to diminish the stigma that is associated to maybe adults not being certain about certain kind of technology or terminology even. And I think this is a great opportunity to get to the students at a young age. As mentioned before, it's to start early. And if we don't reach the parents, I still think of that as a win, because we are reducing the likelihood that those people, if you will, those students, will have literacy issues as they grow up. And oh my God, there's a fly that is slightly immense in my room. Okay, goodbye, buddy. So there's definitely an opportunity to get to those students and more than likely reduce their health literacy issues, even if we don't get to the parents. Okay, so as mentioned before, now that my room is fly free, supposedly, we'll move on to talking about the the presentations. So again, we will, as we're tabling, we're making the claim, and this is true, that we are going to be giving presentations to middle schoolers and high schoolers in their health class. So what information to bring, what can you do? What have we done that we believe that you guys can do for your community, for these high schoolers, these middle schoolers, for their families, essentially. So again, another beauty of this project is in hopes to communicate this issue, to raise awareness, to start conversations. We're reaching out to students who will hopefully take that information home. For every student you hit, you figure a sibling, maybe not a sibling, a parent for sure. So for every one, you're actually getting 2. And I mean, in the game of numbers, I think it's a great opportunity. Even if people do claim to have high health literacy and they may not be that engaged, I really truly do feel that there's an opportunity to just really kind of ask some tough questions. But I think in hopes of reducing literacy issues, I think some tough questions do need to be asked. And we'll get into it later, but there is a pre-test and a post-test that we've conducted, and because you are kind of doing surveys to youth. So there are probably, and I think our professor, Kate Sobiek, did kind of jump through some hoops, but I don't think that they're rather dynamic regarding being able to survey people under the age of 18. But we'll do that through Kahoot, which is actually a very well-known, very popular app, and we'll go through later about how to do that. It's and again free, right? Let's not make this cost anything. Furthermore, speaking of cost, I did make note earlier about volunteers working at the tabling events, right, at the campaigns and things of that nature. And you can always reach out. I'm not going to say you should always reach out or can always, but there are usually universities, students like myself, Luke and Lauren and Professor Sobiek will be responsive for certain, always more than happy to help people out. For those individuals to get, again, informed as we are, to then participate and help out. And we're always more than welcome to do that. I'm probably going to hate myself for saying that, but so nonetheless. So like, let's say you have a presentation for the middle schoolers, you set up a Kahoot, you set up 15 questions, 20 questions, something like, what is health literacy? Do you know what health literacy is? Yes or no? Do you know how it can help? Maybe that's a little bit more dynamic. Maybe that's not yes or no, or a simple A, B, C, or D, multiple choice, right? But actually during the presentation, a lot of these questions could then be answered. In other words, you have a pretest, which is all the information that you'll be covering later in the presentation, and hopefully they do well. You want everybody to do well, but again, rather the hope is that after the presentation they actually do a lot better in the post test of that Kahoot, right? So you can kind of assess if the presentation went well, just kind of assess general knowledge at the beginning, and maybe what information the students did hold on to, and how it was helpful. And it's always important, if I can remember back to the vaping campaign that we did, it's really important to be able to reach out to that youth age, because we did have a couple, or if you want to call them troublemakers, like we were talking about vaping, and some kids are just set in their ways or something, and they kind of acted out a little bit. So you kind of have to almost bring an energy to these classrooms, and that's facilitation 101 in kind of creating a training or development guide, and facilitating a presentation. It's not as easy as just standing up there and here's the information, thank you so much. You kind of have to add some meaning, a meaningful story, a lot of visuals, and very engaging. It's always important to kind of make sure that you're teaching, but you're also you're also making sure that this is something that they hold on to. All right, so now that we just got done talking about the information regarding the information during the presentation part of the health class, let's kind of step back a little bit and start talking about the brochures and the handouts for the tabling events, and a little bit more on the specifics regarding the Kahoot pre and post tests. And there is an additional link here for Simply Put by the CDC. Incredibly informative resource right here regarding brochures and handouts and what to do and what not to do. And I grabbed what I believe some of the key components of these brochures, especially during the tabling events. So it's my experience that individuals will walk up and you'll hand some information out, and if it's not eye-catching, if it's not concise, if it's not clear, if it's overwhelming, it's just they're gonna grab it and maybe put it in their pocket and not even look at it later. It's kind of a difficult situation. It's maybe a little different when you're handing students this information during like an actual classroom, because in a moment where individuals are walking past your table, even if you're campaigning like out in just general stores and shops in the area where you know somebody who'll let you set up shop for the day and take advantage of their foot traffic, if you're handing somebody something and it's got like 8 million words on it, they're just going to look at it. If there's no pictures, they're going to go, oh, okay, whatever, and grab it and walk away. So the point here is that, of course, with the help of this link here, that you need to make sure that your message is clear and limit the number of messages. Too much information is just too much noise, and they're not going to really respond. And furthermore, to tell the audience what they need to do, put into action. Okay, so I do need to eat more fruits. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, okay, visit. Oh, and you'll get a discount. Maybe something, not saying that that's a great example, but telling them what they need to do helps, especially when it comes to health literacy and things of that nature. If you can identify that somebody, it seems to, by how they're acting and behaving and things of that nature, that they seem to have low health literacy, giving them a great helpful link is always interesting, which is something they can visit and can maybe reduce that stigma and increase their literacy, right? Furthermore, visuals always help, something real life, maybe to kind of pull emotion, things of that nature. We're very visual people. So anytime I look at a brochure, and if I'm looking at it and I kind of don't see a picture, it's not that I wouldn't respond to it or something of that nature, but my eye will dart towards something like that, like an image, and then my eye will jump right to the caption. Um, but again, if there's too many, then that's just as painful as, okay, I'm just looking at images, I don't know what to do. I'm looking at 8 million words, okay, I don't know what this is. It can be, it's a balancing act. Furthermore, and especially considering the topic, and it is by no surprise that health literacy is an issue among minority groups, lower socioeconomically positioned individuals. Therefore, making your visuals culturally relevant and sensitive can make or break the deal. You do not want to have somebody look at it and just go, this isn't for me. But it is made for you, but that relevancy and that sensitivity wasn't put into aspect. So for last part about the brochures, and again, there's more information later, we'll get to that, but these are just the key components, which is the translations. So if you do believe that you do need to make translations, it is almost critical to, of course, pick your translator carefully, not just because, let's say, somebody is, or your demographic is that of the Hispanic culture. That doesn't just mean you can take somebody who happens to speak Spanish and then you go, okay, there you go. Well, like just off the top of my head, could your group of people that you're looking for specifically or looking to reach out for maybe be more Cuban in heritage? Then and therefore there might be a little bit of a sway one way or another. Therefore, all the translation that you've had done actually may not be translated so fluidly, especially when it comes to health information. It's already so overwhelming. Trying to make it simple, concise, and accurate is incredibly important. Okay, so the next part is, of course, the Kahoot, and I've already kind of touched base on that a little bit, and it does kind of jump that concern that people have about surveying the youth, people under the age of 18, but doing it through this process. And the schools, they know Kahoot. I guarantee you, almost right now, it's Monday, 9 a.m. I can almost guarantee you maybe a teacher in a middle school could very well be doing a Kahoot right now. There is a link right here on how to a YouTube. It's like a 5-minute video. You can always click on that and get a quick little walkthrough, and free and easy, and great way to pre-test, test general knowledge. Do your presentation. We've gone over that, and then that post test to see if, and I'm certain it will, see if knowledge has been gained. And furthermore, as you can always imagine, anything with technology, you'd be amazed how these kids reacted when we were giving these presentations. And we're like, it's Kahoot time, and oh man, every kid just lit up. They were ready to go. This is something that they like, so we will really want to take advantage of that. All right, so as I mentioned before, information about the brochures, I thought that this would be an opportunity for me to kind of talk more about brochures as it pertains to your establishment, and not brochures that you're going to be maybe handing out quickly at a tabling event. You kind of, some information at a tabling event when people are walking by needs to be communicated in a different style than this is like your home base brochure. Sure, you'll bring those to the tabling event, but this is like your brand. This isn't something you're trying to kind of flash in front of somebody's face saying, if you don't know this, if you don't know that, well, I'm not saying that that's how it should be done, but here's some information about this, here's some information about that, here's why you might be concerned, or this is how it can affect you, right? As a tabling event, you kind of want to blurt that out really quick and put into action. This is what you need to do. But this is more or less for information regarding definitely your brand, your organization, your home base, and your mission and things of that nature. In regards to like health literacy, I've read, and of course there's numerous resources linked and organized at the end of this to then be looked at further, but these are some of the key components. And I think the first one is fantastic. It's literally to, and I love this word, to embrace the definition. And whatever it is and how it is that you define it could very well change the likelihood that you can reach out to, these groups who you have identified as being, health illiterate or having health literacy concerns. So the definition here, the degree to which individuals and groups can obtain, process, understand, evaluate. Yes, this is a definition, but I would recommend as a communication specialist that if you want to brand this definition, brand it in terms of Walworth County and make it something that you know that your community will respond to, and those who you are reaching out to, that they will respond to this. And I love the second one, communicate about health, public health, as if everyone has, you're not alone. Just because everybody's not sitting at the bar talking about, oh man, the doctor said I got diverticulitis. I don't know what that means. So whatever, I'm just going to sit here and just chomp away on some seeds, which if I understand my terminology well enough, I guess it's ironic because I believe that some seeds, it's a very much a digestion issue. Okay, anyways. So as you can keep kind of going through, you'll identify some very important key components about how to make and design a brochure, make sure that the written communication looks easy to read, 12-point font, avoid using fancy script, some line lengths, of course, and of course individuals who have issues with language barriers maybe have multiple brochures made, not translated identically, meaning if you have one sample, right? This is my home base. This is exactly how I want my organization to express our mission and what we stand for and what we do. You can't just literally take that information and slot it into Google Translator and just copy and paste. Some of the information needs to be broken down into the simplest of terms to be able to be translated. So doing that is not always the easiest. It's always nice to have a translator, but take it into original plain language, and that's incredibly easy. Well, I shouldn't say it's easy. It's critical to the success of translating this information to be communicated appropriately. And again, captions and visual aids are always welcome. It makes looking at something a little easier, especially if there's some kind of health stigma associated and concerns. Like if I'm visiting the doctor or if I have problems, I don't want to be looking at something that's almost frightening or big crazy words that are going to confuse me. I'm just going to put it down, and then therein lies the problem. Furthermore, we have a link here, and this is a place to go to build free brochures if you are looking for some ideas, and I don't know how much they charge yearly or how much it is, so you may find a bunch of stuff actually at a pretty decent price if it's not free. Definitely look through their free stuff too, but we've done Canva, specifically I've done Canva to create business cards for campaign stuff like that, and again, it's a free site, and if you're looking to save some money, and I mean, who isn't? I think it's a great link. All right, so we are getting near the end, and of course, what better way to finish it than to be talking about communication through website online presence. Through social media, there is this new opportunity for health literacy to kind of connect individuals who are difficult to reach out to. So creating websites and having information and easy to navigate websites with various links, I think, is incredibly critical to create that presence and to reduce literacy issues. And lately there's places to go that have absolute free websites, like Wix, for example. We just recently created our e-portfolios for absolutely no cost. Incredibly easy to navigate. I've been sending these links out to my friends to check for errors and concerns, and they're incredibly surprised. And they're like, I remember I talked to my brother-in-law James, and he's like, I can't believe how easy that stuff is. I'm like, it's really easy. It's easy to navigate, easy to create links, to click on, to take individuals to where they want to go. Do you have any questions regarding insurance related details such as premiums, deductibles, copays? Click here, click here, click here, create links associated to. It sounds, if you're unfamiliar with it, it sounds almost overwhelming, but it's actually kind of fun. And it's actually really easy. Maybe it was really easy and it made it fun. But in hopes to reach more people, creating more of a presence is just going to increase the likelihood that you're going to reach out to these people, that you're going to actually help them in a free way. It's easy to manage. And it translates onto mobile phone. So if I'm sitting on my computer and I build this website through Wix, and I have a buddy sitting next to me, I'm like, hey, can you check that quick? He'll log onto his phone, and it translates onto mobile devices just as easily, and the links work, and it's incredibly helpful. So so here are the lists of the references, and there's another reference page, and I do highly recommend that. If one of them, and I kind of try to label them appropriately in case you do want to just hop on to the barriers to health literacy training guide that I use to reference a lot of this stuff throughout. It's really an important aspect of kind of synthesizing the ideas that we've had. And I guess last but not least, I just do want to thank you guys. I'm lucky enough to work at a health facility, at an end-of-life facility where I work with so many great nurses and practitioners, and they're incredibly meaningful to me in my life. And I know that what you guys are doing is definitely not easy, and we do definitely wish you the best of luck, and we hope that you have a lot of success. And thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and yeah, good luck.